Hello everyone, I am Dr. Regina Anandi, Assistant Professor, Department of Artificial Intelligence and Data Science. Today we are going to discuss an important concept in modern front-end development called SPA architecture, which is in this presentation refers single page application architecture. So this topic is very important in modern web development because most popular applications like Facebook, Gmail, Instagram, and Netflix use SPA architecture to provide fast and smooth experience. So in this session, we will understand what traditional web applications were like, why developers moved to SPA architecture, and how it works internally. So before single page applications become popular, websites followed a traditional client server architecture. So in this model, whenever a user clicked a button or opened another page, the browser sends a request to the server. The server then generates a completely new HTML page and sends it back to the browser. This process is actually called full page reload. So the problem with this approach was that every interaction is required. For example, sending a request to the server, waiting for the response, downloading a new HTML page, reloading the entire web page. Because of this, websites felt slower and less interactive. So the flow was browser sends request, server process, server returns HTML, and then browser reloads the page. So as the applications become more complex, this approach created performance and user experience issues. So these limitations led to the development of modern SPA architecture. So now let's understand the major problem with the traditional web applications. So as web applications become larger and user expected faster responses, traditional architecture starts struggling. So the first issue was slow navigation. Every page transaction required a complete reload, which creates delays. The second issue was high server load. The server had to repeatedly generate full HTML pages for every request. So this increased backend processing and network usage. So the third issue was poor user experience. So user experienced widescreen flashes, loading delays, and interrupted interactions. So today users expect all these application issues so to behave like a mobile app, smooth and fast and responsive. This is what the expectation from the user side. So even a small delay can reduces the user engagement and trust. Because all of these challenges, these developers started searching for a better architecture that results to the SPA architecture, which is nothing but single page application. Now let's define what a single page application is. So a single page application or SPA loads only one HTML page initially. After that, JavaScript dynamically updates the content without refreshing the entire browser page. So this means user experience smooth navigation similar to mobile applications. So in SPA architectures, the initial page loads once, JavaScript handles user interactions, APIs fetch data dynamically, only required content updates, and the page does not fully reload it. So some popular SPA frameworks are React, Angular, and Vue. So React is developed by Meta and is widely used for component-based UI development. Angular is a complete framework developed by Google, and Vue is a lightweight and beginner-friendly. So the key idea behind this is that JavaScript becomes responsible for controlling the user interface dynamically. Now let's understand how a single page application works internally. When user opens the application for the first time, the browser downloads HTML, CSS, and JavaScript files. So once these files are downloaded, the JavaScript applications takes control. So after that, whenever the user interacts with the application, the browser does not request a full HTML page again. Instead, JavaScript communicates with the APIs. So the server turns only the data using like JSON format. So then UI updates dynamically. So this creates a very smooth experience because only the required content changes. So the important concept here is after the first page load, the browser no longer waits for the complete HTML pages documents. So this is why SPA feels much better and faster than the traditional approaches. Now let's discuss the major advantages of single page applications. So the first advantages is faster navigation. After the initial load, only the data travels between the client and the server. There is no repeated downloading of full web pages. The second advantage is better user experience. User experiences smooth transaction and instant feedback. So this keeps user engaged. The third advantage is reduced server load. Server returns lightweight JSON data instead of generating complete HTML pages every time. So the fourth advantage is seamless transition. So using routing libraries, applications behave like a desktop or a mobile apps. So this is why modern applications prefer SPA architecture. However, developers must also manage challenges such as SEO, initial loading time, and browser history management. So this slide shows the core workflow of the SPA. The process usually follows the 4 steps. The step 1, user interactions. The user clicks the buttons or performs some action. And then JavaScript handles the event. JavaScript captures the user's action and decides what should happen next. And the third step is fetching data from APIs. So the application sends an API request to the server. The server returns only the required data. And the step 4, UI updates dynamically. So the page updates only the affected section without refreshing the entire web pages. And basically, this is what happens actually. So this is continuous cycles, event handling, API communication, and UI rendering. So forms that heartbeat of every modern SPA. So understanding this flow is essential for learning the React.j development. Now let's discuss the two important concepts in SPA architecture. So client server routing and dynamic rendering. So first, client side routing. So in initial traditional websites, moving to another page required contacting the server. But in SPA, routing libraries such as React Router handle navigation directly in the browser. For example, /home loads the home component, /about loads the about component. So the browser's URL changes, but the page does not fully reload. So next, the virtual DOM, data object model. So React creates an in-memory copy of the actual DOM called virtual DOM. So whenever the data changes, React compares the old virtual DOM and the new virtual DOM, finds the difference and updates only the changed elements in the real DOM. So this process is usually called reconciliations. So because of only a small parts update, performance becomes much faster and more effective. Let's look at the real-time examples of SPA architecture. So here the example of the case study is taken for Facebook. So Facebook is the world's largest single-page applications. So when Facebook loads initially, only the application shell is loaded. After that, scrolling the feed, opening the comments, liking posts, or navigating between sections happens dynamically without full page reloads. So this creates a very smooth user experience. Facebook serves billions of interactions every day. Its success demonstrated that SPA architecture can scale for extremely large applications. So in fact, React.js itself was created by Meta engineers to support applications like a Facebook. So let's summarize today's session. So first, SPA loads once and update dynamically using a JavaScript. Second, APIs are used to fetch data without reloading the entire web page. Third, client-side routing enables app-like navigation. So fourth, virtual DOM improves rendering efficiency by updating only the changed elements. Finally, frameworks like React, Angular, and Vue are widely used to build a modern SPAs. Among them, React.js is one of the most popular choices of scalable front-end development. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone. I hope this session helped you understand the fundamentals of single-page application architecture and its importance in model front-end development. Thank you.